Hello, everyone. We're going to be doing the optional tarot spreads for before week 4. So we're at module 700, and we're at the top of the page, the summoning of truth. This spread begins the ascent by bringing every inner voice to the table. It's the time to face the parts of you that have been judging, defending, or silencing your truth. The inner courtroom is not a place of punishment, but a place of understanding. Here you listen to each voice with compassion until the truth becomes undeniable. This is where you begin to negotiate peace within yourself, where judgment transforms into clarity, and where truth begins to rise as your new compass. So card 1, we have the accuser. What part of me continues to blame toward myself or another, and what truth hides beneath that projection? So I'm going to do it where I leave the deck here, setting the intention to do that, and I'll flip over a few cards for each answer. So what part of me continues to point blame toward myself or another? Justice. So I would read this as pointing blame at others for injustices. So I would read this as what part of me continues to point blame toward myself or another. I would say righteous anger at others would be the answer for this card there. And what truth hides beneath that projection? So King of Swords, I would say a lot of unspoken truths, maybe truth not all the way being cleared in regard to reputation, in regard to true stories. So this answer to me would be righteous anger at others for lack of truth or transparency. Card or pile 2, the defender. What protective pattern has been guarding my vulnerability, and how can I thank it while inviting a more honest strength to emerge? So what protective pattern has been guarding my vulnerability? Guarding my vulnerability. Choosing to stay in a bit of a holding pattern, not make choices that would lead to certain actions. So in some ways, you could read that as self-sabotage or biding time. And how can I thank it while inviting a more honest strength to emerge? That strategy wasn't working to get the goal or the outcome. 8 of Cups is saying it wasn't fulfilling you to stay in a holding pattern. So the strength that can emerge is if that's not what you wanted, it's time to try something else, even if that requires you to step out of your comfort zone. Now, the witness. Where in my life am I being asked to observe without reaction, to let truth speak before I respond? So where in my life am I being asked to observe without reaction? 10 of Pentacles in reverse. To not make excuses or justifications for people. Observe without reaction. When someone shows you who they are, believe them without trying to justify or understand. Or like the burden of understanding is not yours. To let truth speak before I respond. So the Knight of Swords in reverse is all about slowing down with that response. So when you give people the space to do what they would rather do without interference, you see what they really want to do. And that's how you see who people truly are. So this answer to me, the witness, where am I being asked to observe without reaction? I would say to give people the space to do what they want to do without interference so that you can see what they would rather do, and hence you see their character without telling them what you want to see from them so that they can mold it into that. Now, the verdict. What truth am I finally ready to claim, even if it changes everything I thought I knew? What truth am I finally ready to claim? Time to get moving. Four of Swords to me in reverse is always about a resurrection. So it's like an idea that was put on the back burner is time to come forward, because I'm not waiting to convince certain people of it, was what I would say with that card there. Even if it changes everything I thought I knew. Data points. So you can't know until you try. Even if it's a scary change or a big change, any kind of change is bringing you data points, and any kind of data points is helping to fill in other areas of knowledge and intellect and direction and perception. So you can't ever be worse off by having more data points. You can only know more and make better decisions. So what truth am I finally ready to claim, even if it changes everything? You don't know unless you try. And even if you try and you fail, you still get data points that you wouldn't otherwise have. So either way, you can't lose. The higher judge. What message does my higher self have about mercy, balance, or the deeper purpose behind this internal trial? I'm going to pull both of these at the same time. Vulnerability and giving space for vulnerability. What message does my higher self have about mercy, balance, or deeper purpose behind this internal trial? If you continuously busy yourself away from your emotions, you don't give yourself the chance to feel them and experience them. And then you start to look at them as a punishment because you're like, this isn't going away. Well, because you didn't sit with it and feel it yet. The only way out is through. So we busybody ourselves away from certain emotions, and then we feel like we're being punished with them, when in reality, we didn't do the work to release them yet, because it's meant to teach us the lesson. And how can we learn the lesson until we actually sit there and feel it and sit with it? So the only way out is through, and you can't be afraid to sit with your feelings, right? They came in. Think of it as water in a cup. The water came in. You already handled it coming in. In order to release it, you just need to feel it again on the way out, with the wisdom now filtered from it. So the reflection prompt: before beginning, write one sentence that starts with, "This week I am learning that truth is not the weapon. It is the doorway to my freedom." So I'm going to pull both of them at the same time. This week I'm learning that truth is not the weapon. It is the doorway to my freedom. I mean, at the end of the day, truth is truth. You can only cover the truth with so much illusion, but once the illusion runs out of energy being fed into it, all that's left is the truth. So if you know something to be true, and it is your truth, don't let others talk you out of it, with the Hermit here. This week I'm learning that truth is not the weapon, it's the doorway to my freedom. Because truth doesn't have a time limit. Truth will always be truth, no matter what anybody else tries to say about it. That would be my reflection prompt. Okay, I will see you in the second part for the end of the week spread.